To begin the conversation, it is another reckoning for the Democrats and Republicans in the United States of America as the country goes to the poll to elect another president. It is a tense atmosphere leading to the 2024 U.S. general elections as Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, and Kamala Harris, the Democrat candidate, are neck and neck in the race. The palpable anxiety is felt globally as whoever emerges the winner will have far-reaching effects on international politics. Both candidates have engaged in divisive and intense campaigns, as well as contrasting local and foreign policies in frantic attempts to woo voters. As at Monday, both candidates made last-minute campaign appearances in swing states in desperate attempts to woo voters. The world awaits because a lot depends on the outcome. All right, Biko, the two candidates, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, slug it out, at the polls. Now the question is, who will bask in the thrill of victory and who will wallow in the agony of defeat? Your thoughts on this?
No, it's an election that can go either way. That's that's the way most analysts have described this election. And when Trump won in 2016, nobody gave him a chance. In fact, I remember watching a program on CNN where I think Farid Zakaria was asking the question, how come we all never saw this coming? It was a shock to so many people, not just in the U.S., but across the world, that Donald Trump emerged winner in 2016. And the last election was very close, too. It was close, even in terms of the popular vote. The election was close. This time around, it was the prediction that most people have made is that the election is a dead heat, meaning that it's a sort of election that could go either way.
Either way.
Yes, when you look at Trump has a lot of baggage. In fact, he is due to be convicted for one of the misdemeanors recorded against him in just a matter of weeks. If he had been convicted, he would not have been allowed to stand in this election. But he has several cases, a number of cases on his neck. So he better win this election. Otherwise, he could just in a few weeks after losing the election, see himself in jail.
Biko, you are good at predicting. Where do you see the pendulum swinging?
This one, I didn't really show that much interest.
Okay.
Because the Americans have a way of unnecessarily stimulating excitement. And at the end of the day, you just see that the hula baloo is not worth it. Okay. Look at Joe Biden, for example. Joe Biden is due to visit Angola in about 3 weeks or so.
Yes.
That is a man who in nearly 4 years has not visited a single African country.
Exactly, I was surprised.
But the Democrats always say, oh, they love Africa, they love the minorities, they are interested in the prosperity of Africa and all that. Even Kamala Harris talked a lot about Prosper Africa. We have to give Trump credit because Trump actually came up with the idea of Prosper Africa in 2018. And I still give him credit for the support he gave Nigeria in the war against terror. When we had Obama in power, Obama never did anything for Africa that you can point at. In fact, Obama stopped...
The Super Tucano?
He stopped them from selling weapons. Obama's government, citing the Leahy Law, stopped America from selling weapons to us. And even when we tried to go through a third party, they also blocked our attempts to buy some American weapons from through third-party elements, like the Chinook helicopters, for example. The Chinook helicopters are very good. You can use them as ground attack helicopters, and also use them for troops insertion and ambulance. You know, which means you can play 3 roles. The role of an air ambulance, the role of troop insertion, that means when you need to take troops or relate to a location, and then as you can be fitted with guns, so that I can serve the role of a ground attack helicopter. They stopped us from buying it, citing Leahy Law. But the moment Trump came in, President Buhari visited him, and he said, I'm going to sell weapons to you. I'm going to help you defeat terror. That was how the idea of buying Super Tucano came up, you know. So I always remember him for that role. But again, this was the same person who described our continent as a continent of shitholes. He described the continent as a shithole. So if you do not have contempt for us, how can you be describing us I agree. Collectively as a shithole? So another countries of the world too are worried. The Arabs are worried. Who is coming in? Will their policies help the Arabs in any way? Will their policies advance good neighborliness between Israel and its Arab neighbors? So people are worried. Who is the president that will come in? Will that president continue to support Israel blindly? Because America sees Israel as its number one ally. So they share intelligence, they do a lot of things together, they arm Israel. So will the next president also blindly support Israel and not be bothered about the suffering Palestinians, kids, women being killed because of this unending war? And Netanyahu has told himself that it is either it destroys Hamas permanently or the war does not end. You know? So, because in the past he felt, okay, I agreed to a ceasefire, but look at what they are doing now. They came back to kill our people, to take them hostage. So we say, look, I must remove the threat completely before we can talk about a ceasefire.
And many Americans are tired of the war.
Yes, and they've been protesting that they don't want this war to continue.
Exactly.
But you know, somehow the Americans never turn against Israel.
Yeah.
Somehow, no matter who is president, forget about what Kamala Harris is saying. You are tempted to think that with Kamala Harris, you have an African in yes, because he's partly Africa, partly Asian. So you are tempted to think, oh, with Kamala Harris, an African is guaranteed in the state in the White House. But it doesn't really affect us that much.
Even when Obama,
you will have expected Obama was even Clinton was much better for Africa than Obama, despite the fact that Obama is black.
Exactly.
What did Obama do?
Exactly.
What did Obama do for us? You know, despite his roots being in Kenya.
Exactly.
Clinton was seen as a black man in white skin.
Yeah.
Clinton came here. Clinton came to the continent, and Clinton related with Africa much better than somebody who had African blood. It's such a massive shame, you know?
Okay, Olayinka, in your opinion, looking at the way the campaign went, they were always throwing jabs at each other. Do you think the way the campaign messages was actually saying it resonated, with voters, especially the undecided voters?
Well, That's the reason why you find out that on the last stretch home, the two of them were visiting what they call the swing states. Now, the way I look at it now is America ready for a female president? That's the way I want to view it. Because even in 2016, between Hillary Clinton and Trump, all the major and leading media in the U.S. supported Hillary Clinton, which is the same thing that is happening now. New York Times, CNN, almost all the leading newspapers, the media generally.
I don't expect CNN to support
No, I'm just saying. So all of them are supporting Kamala Harris. What will happen, nobody can say. Just before we entered the studio, I spoke with a friend who is in the U.S., and what he told me is that, look, Olayinka, I cannot at this point tell you this is the way to go. Just as Babajide has said, Americans have a way of raising your hope or raising excitement, and at the last minute, you just dash it. Because as of 2016, it was a given that Hillary Clinton will be the president. But what happened? So now, what is happening now is that until our own time later today or early tomorrow morning or whenever the result is released, nobody can say exactly that
let's look at the benefit of whoever emerges to Nigeria.
Say,
what is the benefit for us in Africa?
Whatever benefit you think it is.
Or we should not even think of anything.
America is America. When people think that when someone who shares some likelihood of blood or skin with Africa gets to power and it will favor Africa, it doesn't work that way. Look, they have their own system. They have what they do, and they hardly go outside that. For instance, when Obama got there, not even Kenya, that is his father's homeland, which he wrote a book about, got favored. So how do you now expect Kamala Harris, who has a distant relationship with Africa, not as direct as Obama's? It's just the same thing now that with the new leader of the Conservative Party in the UK. Yes. I mean, there's a video circulating where she said reparation is hogwash, or exactly. What was the language? So you find out that, look, in all these people have been formed in their own opinion. Yes, they share the same skin color, they share the same racial heritage and all that with Africa or wherever, but in their ways. In fact, they are even the ones that will be harsher on their people than, so that the machinery will not move against them. So whether it is Kamala Harris or Trump, but if I have a choice, obviously I won't vote for. I won't want a Trump to be.
You don't want a Trump?
No. I think
because of the insult and all this.
Trump has already promised the biggest deportation exercise in American history.
Yes.
On immigration.
On immigration.
So,
and Nigeria has
the largest
327,000 of its citizens in America,
if not more.
And these Nigerian citizens remit about $20 billion to our country by way of diaspora remittances. And we need these remittances to keep flowing in as a way of shoring up the value of our currency, because the more dollars you earn, the stronger your currency becomes. So if mass deportation were to happen, it would definitely eat deep into these diaspora remittances that we rely on. Nigeria and India, they make a lot of money from diaspora remittances.
But anyway, we have a caller right now. Julius from Valencia. Julius, thank you so much for joining us, Julius.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly say something. Babajide, what you said about the American election is very, very, very vital, and you are always constructive. You know, I want to say something that in the 4 years of Donald Trump election, there was no problem in the Arab world, and most of them don't like him more, except Iran and the Hezbollah. So there's not going to be a problem. I think Africa will prosper with him. We will not be bullied with all this LGBTQ that the Democrats are pushing on us. I just pray that he wins, that he can stop the Ukraine war and stopping China too from attacking Taiwan. We need a very strong leader, not what we have now in the U.S. and the one that Kamala Harris will represent. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Yes, look, I get the point that he's making. There are many people today who think that America has regressed under these democratic leaders. The country is not as influential as it used to be, and we are seeing the emergence of China, of Russia, of India becoming more and more influential in international affairs.
World affairs.
So they think that America needs a strong leader at this time. Remember when when China was threatening to invade Taiwan?
Okay.
George Walker Bush deployed 3 submarines to the coast of Taiwan. That's where it ended.
Yeah.
You don't mess with America when America has a strong leader. But people are not seeing that kind of
BK, talking about war
at this time. And he also talked about, you see, in fairness to Trump, Trump didn't start any war. And he was boasting that, look.
Which is the thing with Republicans.
He didn't start any war. Though the biggest weapons contractors are Republicans.
Okay.
They make a lot of money
from these wars.
Yes. But they can still sell weapons without necessarily starting a war.
Yeah.
We saw that. He sold weapons to us. He sold weapons to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
In fact, some of their best weapons, Apache helicopter, he sold to Saudi Arabia without having to start a war.
Yeah.
So, and he said, look, Obama was scared that North Korea will start a war. And he went to meet the guy. And the North Korean leader and Trump were very chummy. Interestingly.
Yeah.
He also had a chummy relationship with Russia. And he said with Putin. That's why they felt to Putin helped him to win election and all that nonsense. And he said if he was president, even this war against Ukraine would not have
started. Yeah.
There is a feeling that the way people feared America back then, they no longer fear America. The America is becoming weaker and weaker. And this excessive promotion of gay rights and all that the Democrats have been identified with. Of course, you know that a Trump presidency will have nothing to do with
that.
I'm happy when we had the President Buhari, President Buhari said, no, we are not interested. Former Senate President, too, to his credit, David Mark,
said,
said, we are not, this is not our culture. This is not who we are. Yeah. Don't bring this. Don't bring this to us. And that's the way it should be.
All right, gentlemen. We have another caller, Ayo from London. Ayo, let's talk.
Ayo
that's that network. But now, Trump has boasted. Said on the first day, the Russia-Ukraine war, did you think he just mere boast or he can actually walk the talk?
Well, I don't know how he will do it. Will he call the Ukrainian president and the Russian president and ask them to stop the war? Or did they start it in the first place? The United States didn't start it in the first place. And although they
need
have
American weapons.
So
without the American weapons, you're in trouble.
But I think that it's just one of those things that politicians do, that I will do this and do that when I get in and all that. He might have influence in stopping it if it comes in, but not that same day it will stop.
No, you can at least call a meeting.
Yeah.
I know that Putin appears.
No, Putin, of course.
So it's possible.
Of course.
Say, look, let's end this war. So I believe that it's possible, but it may not be immediately. Not the way he talks.
No, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.